Struggling to stick with habits, struggling to be consistent. This is such a common aspect of entrepreneurship in trying to be a high performer and just wanting to stay consistent. Hi, my name is Nick Bonitatibus, owner and founder of Digital Champions, and this is Let's Grow Together, the show about helping you become the best version of yourself. And today's all about how to stick to habits that can change your life. And there's something amazing about habits in the sense that the most successful people in this world are not actually particularly more intelligent or more skilled. They're just more consistent in doing actions on a regular basis. And what's amazing about this is that this frees you from that burden that you don't have the skills or you're not good enough, because it really is just a matter of showing up on a consistent basis in a consistent way. And there's so many areas of life and things that push you in this direction that by doing it consistently has this snowball effect. Being able to just stay in that compounds and builds day after day after day when you do it. And the thing is that if we rely too heavily on like motivation and being motivated, it's less likely to happen. But if we just know without a doubt what we're going to do without making decisions, then we're going to be able to stay consistent. And to me, that's the one of the biggest elements of consistency is having a plan and just sticking to that plan. For me, one of the best things that I did for my own physical health, I'm in some of the best shape that I've ever been in. And I owe the credit to signing up for a program that literally gives me every workout that I'm supposed to do and how long I'm supposed to do it, what I'm supposed to do. So there's no decisions. So I know, for example, that I go to yoga. So this is a different element. I go to yoga Tuesday, Thursday. And so what I did with this program, it's called V-Shred. But basically is that I know that Monday, I'm going to do whatever's on the V-Shred app, what it tells me to do. It may be chest, it may be, back, legs, arms. There's like three categories that it takes me through. And so when I wake up in the morning, I'm not like, what am I going to do today? This is why people don't stay consistent, because they don't have the clarity of what they're trying to do and what they need to do. But if you don't think about it and don't give it an option, Arnold Schwarzenegger talks about working out like breakfast. He doesn't think about whether he's going to do it or not do it. He just does it because it's part of his identity. That's a whole nother aspect too of being able to stay consistent, is whether or not we're fighting certain identities. I talked about identity in a previous episode, but so often we're so worried, or we identify, let's say in this example, because I think fitness is always a great example, and there's a reason why the most successful people in the world tell you to focus on fitness, because it takes discipline and just showing up each and every day. And I think it helps you to show up in other areas of your life, because if you can show up in the gym consistently, you can show up in other areas of your life consistently as well. And so when we're able to do this, we're building that consistency day in and day out, that snowball effect of showing up. But it starts with just that commitment to wanting to go to the gym. But if you're someone who doesn't like working out, you're identifying as somebody who doesn't like working out, which then makes it so much harder to stay consistent because you identify as someone who doesn't like working out. Well, then now you're always going to have trouble. But if you shift your thought process and shift your identity into, I am a healthy person. What does a healthy person do? They work out. Now you're removing that resistance. Now, again, I worked up towards being to where I am today into the consistency that I've been able to deliver in the gym. I started working out in college, and also I played sports. So there was some element of that I've had a lot in my life, but it can just start with starting small. And I think that's one of the biggest things when it comes to goals in general and staying consistent, is that consistency often is set at this bigger expectation, like trying to work out 7 days a week, when really, if you just start with 1 day a week, you can then build off of that. And so when we can create our things small, create the habit small, we're able to stay consistent and build that consistency over time. I didn't just start working out 7 days a week or 6 days a week. Generally, I work 6 days a week, but I try to be active at least 7 days a week. I'm always doing something and moving my body. And that's an important element for me. And so when it comes to that consistency though, at one point my goal was just 4 days a week. And so once I was able to achieve that, that helped me to get to where I am today. And then before that, right? And so we so often we try to when we think consistency, it means this like everyday thing. But what if it's just once a week, once every 2 weeks, once a month? That's how we create success. And sometimes success isn't pretty all the time. It's literally success within business, within life is just about showing up on that consistent basis. Like I've been getting a lot of comments about my physical health, which I appreciate. They're like, man, like you look good. I'm like, I'm just going to the gym. Like I'm just going to the gym on a regular basis. I just don't really skip days or miss days. If I'm traveling, I won't work out sometimes. I try to bring my gym stuff and work out if I can. But for the most part, it's just about being willing to show up on that consistent basis. But a big part of it is because I don't even think about it anymore. There's a reason why, if you know Steve Jobs, he used to always wear like that black shirt. And part of that was because it was one less decision that he had to make that he could free himself up to do. And so when we think about those elements, this is a side note about physical fitness and your outfit. One thing that helped me, and this comes from the book Atomic Habits, is that I always put my workout clothes out the night before. So that again, I wake up, put the clothes on, and I just go. I'm not thinking about, am I going to the gym today? I just go. It's not a thought process. And that's how we're able to stay consistent and create these habits to do again and again and again. We have to be willing to just start small and build it up. But consistency isn't glamorous, but it's a foundation. It is foundational to great achievement. We must just be willing to show up on that consistent basis. Hope this helps. Remember, you don't have to do it alone. Let's grow together.